Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the holiday Qigong workshop. Um, my name is Ralph Somak, and I teach a regular Tai Chi and Qigong class Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. on Zoom. And much of the work that we're going to do today, not all, but most of it is we have done in my classes at one time or another. In those classes, we try to mix things up and do Qigong from different parts of China. And so this is a good opportunity to not only welcome you, but to introduce the opening breath, which is a way of centering that we do before we do forms in all of the internal Chinese martial arts, including Tai Chi, Xing Yi, and Bagua, and they all have their very similar opening form called a commencement form. And what we're trying to do here is bring energy into ourselves and equilibrate it into our bodies so we can do something useful with it. Importantly, quiet the mind and elevate the soul. And so let's go ahead and take our opening breath. And so if you can see me, I'll move away from the screen. Those of you who don't know what an opening breath is, you basically start with your hands at your sides. You relax your shoulders. And it's also helpful to roll your shoulders forward. We don't want to maintain a military posture because that induces stress and tension. And so we want to relax the shoulders. Perfectly okay to roll the shoulders forward. Relax your arms and try to raise your crown. It's said that if you raise your crown, you raise your spirit. And tuck your chin in. That helps keep your crown elevated. And we're going to bring the hands sweeping up, open, above the head. And here we imagine we bringing energy up from the earth and bringing it overhead and then bringing it down. And as we bring it down, we imagine that we're capturing some of that qi energy into an area called the dantian, which is a couple of inches below the belly button and about 3 or 4 inches back toward the spine, which also happens to coincide with the center of gravity of the human body. And it's kind of a spiritual center where we can imagine storing energy and then allow that energy to distribute throughout the various meridians to do work of whatever sort we desire. And there's different ways of taking this opening breath. Some people turn to the left as they take it and then come forward. And some people just bring the hands down like this to the lap, and other people bring it up the same way and down, and then rotate the palms facing each other like you're holding an energy ball. Bring the ball into the hips and slide it down. If we go ahead and try that, take a deep breath in, come down, bring the hands parallel, holding the ball straight, sliding straight down. And yet another style is to bring the energy up, bring it down, and point the fingers toward each other and push down toward the dantian. This is done in Xing Yi. And so once again, coming up, grabbing the energy, bringing it down. Fingers pointing toward each other like a wing, and you bring the energy down like so, and then relax. So this is a good time to introduce a Wudong meditation exercise. This is all Qigong. And that is very simple, that I really like because it's so uncomplicated and so and it's so brilliant. It's simplicity, and it works really nicely and easy to do. Is just sit up straight again using that posture, and breathe naturally. And if you want, you can close your eyes. We're not going to spend a lot of time on, because I want this to be an introduction to Qigong, and Qigong is a huge subject in itself. Of course, it's related to Tai Chi. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Can everybody hear me? Okay, thank you. And so we can start, and this is done sitting, and this is a sitting Qigong class, so it's really apropos to be able to go ahead and introduce this Wudong sitting meditation. You come down in here, instead of going down to the sides, we're going to place the hands on the knees. And we're just going to sit in that posture and relax and breathe naturally. And this is called natural breathing or Buddhist breathing. It's the most popular breathing technique used in Qigong and Tai Chi for that matter. And it's based on the way babies breathe when they're first born. And so there's a little nuance to it. So you want to breathe naturally. Don't hold your breath. So when the breath reaches its top of the inhalation phase, you kind of roll it over and down your spine. So you're taking the breath up the front, which is the front is a yin part of your body, and then you're rolling it down the back. It's called, this is a micro orbit meditation where you're moving the energy around, and it comes back down the back to the spine, and at the same time when you exhale, you imagine that you're pushing the air out by tightening your stomach muscles, and so you're using your abdomen in this breathing. And that's what we want to do in Qigong if we can remember to do it. And so if you hold your belly and you breathe in and bring the breath up and breathe out, you should feel your belly expand and contract slightly. And if you watch babies when they're first born, that's the way they breathe. And then after a while, we become institutionalized in a way. I mean, we become socialized, and for some reason we forget to do that. And so in Qigong will bring us back to our roots of natural breathing. Natural because that's the way we breathe when we were infants, and the way we breathe now is unnatural, breathing in and out and so forth. And you'll have your hands on your knees, and you can close your eyes if you want. And it's also a good opportunity to do what I call a body scan. Once you get into a state of relaxation, it's just relax your mind and examine what's going on in your body. And in particular, examine where you might be holding tension. And it's different for everyone, but for many people, tension is held in the neck and the shoulders. And what you do is you just breathe through it and let the tension go. You think that. Your mind forms intents. And in this case, the intention is to relax. That's what the mind does, is form intentions. Could be good intentions or bad intentions. We want good intentions. And you can do that scan and find out where you're holding any kind of stress or tightness. Could be in your hands or your legs, your knees, even your toes, and just kind of let it go. Breathing in and out, and closing your eyes is helpful. If you leave your eyes open, you want to help try to focus your attention into the distance, which helps you avoid focusing on thoughts. So by looking into the distance, it helps you leave thoughts behind. Just sit for a few moments through this. I wasn't going to do this today, but it's just a way of it worked out. It's important. And it's the same methodology that we're going to be using for any Qigong, and for that matter, even Tai Chi. Okay, so in Qigong, we use natural breathing or Buddha breathing, but there's another kind of breathing called reverse breathing that we use in Qigong for some exercises. And you can substitute one or the other in any of the forms. And that is very different. In that we breathe in, it's called reverse breathing or Taoist breathing. And we breathe in and don't focus your attention at all on your stomach. You just breathe in, it's more upper body. And then as you breathe in, you tighten your perineum. All right. And then as you breathe out, you slowly breathe out and relax your perineum. And so here, instead of strengthening and exercising the stomach muscles, we're doing is we're exercising all of the muscles and tissues, the bladder, the prostate, and so on and so forth, in the pelvic, it's called the pelvic floor area, which is an area that we don't pay much attention to because to a large extent in our society, it's taboo, right? And so if we just breathe in, tighten, and breathe out, relax. Breathe in, tighten, and breathe out, relax. And you'll see this particular form of breathing, style of breathing, practiced in the monkey posture or monkey form in the 5-animal frolic. Excuse me for just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the history of Qigong. And so getting down to basics, basically Qigong means, Qi of course means energy. We all know not Gong. Gong means work. So Qigong is energy work. And the whole discipline of Qigong is focused on cultivating Qi or energy. Often people ask, well, what is the difference between Qigong and Tai Chi? Tai Chi is primarily focused on developing energy or Qi for martial purposes. Although today, most people don't practice Tai Chi for martial purposes. They practice Tai Chi for exercise and meditative purposes. Qigong has an interesting history. It has a documented history that goes back about 2,500 years. But there are Chinese archaeologists have found, and historians have found references to Qigong-like techniques, particularly from carvings in caves, on rocks and walls and caves, paintings in caves, that go back to the Stone Age, which is about 5,000 years ago. And the speculation is that when you look at these drawings on these caves or carvings on rocks, they look like the movements of animals, or more kind of like animal dances. And so the speculation is that Qigong first was performed possibly to counteract the effects of cold and damp climate, which is prevalent there, especially in the north. You see, again, you see these animal posture like dance postures found depicted in rock art throughout the country. Since then, over the centuries, as you might imagine, thousands of different forms of Qigong have evolved, many more forms than in Tai Chi. There are literally thousands of forms, and to the point where today, Qigong is one of the most popular types of exercise alongside with yoga that people perform for health reasons. It's considered to be healing exercise in the world today. So then we have to thank those of us who love and practice Tai Chi have to thank the Qigong world for Tai Chi, because Tai Chi evolved from Qigong, and it's relatively new. It just first appeared in Chen villages in northern China about 500 years ago, and it was closely guarded secret for many centuries. And from Chen style, since then, there are 3 other major styles have evolved, including Yang, Sun, and Wu style. So Qigong consists of basically of independent movements that aren't ordered into sets, although there are some exceptions. Some of you may have heard or even have practiced a Qigong exercise called Wild Goose, which is actually, in my mind, really a Tai Chi practice, because it's done in sets, and it's decidedly martial, taking the movements of a goose and applying them to martial applications. It's kind of a derivative form that I'm not that excited about, but it's kind of one of those things that appeared possibly because I don't want to kind of go too much into this, but because people, they found that a commercial opportunity to kind of sell a new Qigong, call it Qigong, but it's really a new type of Tai Chi, and charge money for people to learn it. But that's my own opinion, and I may, of course, be wrong, and there are many people that will disagree with me. So you'll see a lot of what I call derivative forms that in more modern times have been kind of more opportunistic in their development than for any other reason. But like I said, Qigong consists of basically independent movements that aren't ordered in any particular way. And in Qigong, then this is important. The breath is what actually leads or guides the movement. And Qi is manifested in particular by paying attention to the breath. So unlike Qigong, Tai Chi is very structured. It's highly structured. It's very sophisticated and precise. And in Tai Chi, the movements are always ordered into forms called sets. And in some ways, in modern times, Qigong is more people in the West practice Qigong than Tai Chi because it's easier. You don't have to remember. All you have to do is remember the forms, and you can practice them in any order. You don't have to remember the forms in a particular order, which takes a lot more time that we do in Tai Chi. And one other thing is that breathing isn't emphasized at all in Tai Chi. A lot of people will ask, well, how do you breathe in Tai Chi? You don't have to worry about it because it takes care of itself. The movements come naturally and they lead the breath. And so as you move, the breath kind of follows. And in some ways that makes Tai Chi easier to do. So you might think that, well, that's not a big deal. I can remember how to breathe. Most of us can't remember how to breathe because we do it so naturally. So we have to really focus attention on the breath when we do Qigong. And it's not as easy as you might think, because as we're going through, especially learning the set for the Qigong for the first time, the forms, the emphasis is on trying to remember the forms and not on breathing. But it's a very important aspect of Qigong. To get anything out of it, you have to let the breath lead the form, and you have to pay close attention to your breathing. And as I mentioned, you can either use Taoist breathing or reverse breathing, or you can use natural breathing or Buddha breathing. So I mentioned the 2 methods of breathing, natural and reverse breathing, and I'm going to invite you to use either one at your discretion and whatever you feel like it when we do go ahead and we get into some of the forms. So we're going to go ahead and do some Qigong from different disciplines, trying to mix it up a little bit. We already did one called the opening breath, and we examined that with respect to slight modifications, right? And we did another called the Wudang QiGong Meditation, where we put our hands on our knees. And so this is also a good time to point out that, of course, people do Qigong for many different reasons. Some people do it for meditation, other people do it for exercise. It's particularly good when it's done for exercise. It's particularly good in my mind for stretching the tendons, which connect the bone to the muscle. And when people get old, the tendons contract. And it's one reason why people end up kind of hunched over and walk in kind of funny positions when they get old. So if you do Qigong, especially if you do it for energy work, not only meditation, but for energy work and exercise, it'll really go a long way to stretching the joints and the tendons. And of course, we all know that there are many health benefits to Qigong, including lowering blood pressure, potentiating the immune system, of course, reducing stress and anxiety, and lowering the pulse, if that's what you want to do. And a lot of this has been documented over and over again, and there's a huge literature on it. We're not going to spend any more time on it. We're going to do it. So let's go ahead, and we're going to make sure that when we do these exercises, we're sitting up straight, or standing if you're standing, raising the crown, rolling the shoulders forward, dropping them, and taking a nice full deep breath and not holding the breath, and clearing the mind. And so the first one we're going to do is another Wudong style. I love this one. I do it a lot myself. Is we're going to just bring the hands up, the fingers pointing down, totally relaxed. And you want to try not to extend your joints. So you're going to relax, come up, and then turn the fingers pointing up and push down. Breathing in and out. The rule is simple. As you stretch, you breathe in, and as you relax, you breathe out. We do this a few times. And this is nice to do after you meditate in the sitting position, Wudong style. And then you begin this practice. Basically, you're emptying your mind, and then you begin to let the energy come up and take form and absorb it. And then we're going to bring the hands up, and now turn the palms facing each other, holding like you're holding a ball. I call it an energy ball. And if you want, we can expand, let that ball expand and contract. Imagine that you're pulling against the gentle resistance, pushing against the gentle resistance. And I'll turn the hands facing each other and pull in. Breathing in, you're stretching, and relaxing and breathing out. And push out. And then turn the palms facing each other, holding the ball, and open all the way back, stretch, and close, and relax, breathing out. And then we just continue this part of the form, pulling in and out, pushing out, expanding and contracting. And there are all these different metaphors that might go through your mind. It's these feelings of pulling in, breathing in, pushing out, expanding, contracting, feeling full as you breathe in, feeling full, push out, feeling empty. Stretch, relax. 1, 2, 3, 4. And come down. I like to come down to this position. If you're sitting with the hands on your lap or your knees, and if you're standing, your hands will just come down to your sides, and your knees will be slightly bent. Bringing the hands up, we're going to do some sun style Qigong. Sun style is the newest addition to the Tai Chi world. It's only a couple of hundred years old or less. And we're opening and closing this energy ball. They love to do this in sun style. It mimics the movement of your lungs, so it's really apropos, right? Because breathing is the basis of Qigong. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make the yin yang signs by turning the hands in opposite directions, either this way or that way. It doesn't matter. I'm turning my right hand clockwise, my left hand counterclockwise. And then we're going to turn, and we're going to turn and look at our palm on over the right side, and we're going to block down with the other palm to this side. And then come back holding a ball. And rotate in the other direction, block down, turn to the side. Notice the structure, everything is round. No linear, very few, if any, linear forms or movements in either Tai Chi or Qigong, because energy flows around circles. You can, using circular motions or spiraling forces, generate more energy than using linear forces. Go from one side to the other, breathing in as we pull to the side and look, and as we come back to center, closing to center, breathing out and going back to the other side. And finally, if you like, open and close, and come down and relax. Bringing the hands up and opening, closing again. We're going to turn the energy ball over, turn it over again. And you can do this as many times as you want. And turn to one side, like you're holding the ball on one side. Rotate around the spine to center, breathe out. To the other side, breathing in and out. And obviously what's going on here is you're doing a great service to your lower back. You're twisting and turning and exercising the lower spine, which is good, especially if you're sitting a lot. People that sit a lot develop back problems. So if you're in a situation, either work or otherwise, where you're sitting a lot, this is an excellent thing to do. It's also relaxing. Pull the ball to one side, rotate it back, holding an energy ball in front of you, and rotate over to the other side. And now this is a good opportunity to cross the hands, swoop up, taking a closing breath. Closing breath is the same as opening breath. And come down. Good. And relax. And now we're going to take the ball and we're going to push out to the side in the front with one hand. As we turn the other hand back, push to the side, both fingers facing forward. The elbows back. We're pushing against a plane on the left-hand side. This is sagittal plane on the left-hand side. And now let's rotate the hands in the opposite direction and push forward horizontally to the other side. Again, twisting, turning, breathing in as we stretch, breathing out as we relax. Feel like you're pushing air aside. You're getting your shoulders involved here, the rotator cuff muscles in your shoulders, which are especially prone to injury as we get older and more inactive, although that doesn't need to happen. Most of the time it does. These are wonderful exercises, so easy to do. No equipment required, no gym clothes. Ditch the music, make your own music. All right, good. And come back. And I like to open and close Cross the hands over, sweep up and down, opposing breath. Okay, good. So let's sit for a second. Take a few deep breaths. Okay, let's move on. So now we're going to do a Chen style Qigong exercise. And again, I mentioned that Chen Tai Chi evolved from the Chen villages, where it was kept secret for many, many years, almost 500 years. And it leaked out as a result of the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. I guess that people were migrating out of the villages and into the towns to find work. And of course, they couldn't keep it secret anymore. And it leaked out and evolved, as I mentioned before. But the Chens have their own Qigong exercises and there's a couple that I do, and today we're going to do one. And it's also practiced by the Yang Tai Chi world, in the Yang Tai Chi world. And you probably have seen people standing. It's called tree hugging or posting. And you basically imagine you're holding a beach ball or a basketball, or like a beach ball, I guess. And you bring your hands around like you're holding this big ball or basket in front of you. And make sure your elbows are down. If you raise your elbows up, and some people do it this way, but there are people that do it this way. They've been practicing this for all their lives, and they'll do it for 40 minutes or an hour or longer to build strength, okay, for doing Tai Chi for martial purposes. That's not our intent here. We're doing it for relaxation and health purposes and meditation. And so you want to lower your elbows. Let your elbows drop a little bit. It makes it much easier. And you're going to just hold this position here up around your neck, or even higher if you want. But I like to do it here, just above the chest, around the neck area. And you're going to imagine as you breathe out, you're relaxing throughout the whole exercise. But you imagine as you breathe out that you're pulling chi or energy into your body. But you're not actually, don't move your hands, just imagine it. All right. So breathing in, either reverse or naturally, and breathe out. And as you breathe out, you're pulling energy in. There's two schools of thought. One is you don't get anything out of it unless you do it until the point where you can't even hold your hands up anymore. I think that's silly. I think you should do it for as long as you feel comfortable, and then stop and you can come back to it. But 10 seconds is perfectly fine. And the more you do this, the longer you can do it. And the idea is to do it completely relaxed again, right? You may start feeling some tingling sensation going on between the fingers. You may feel like your hands are getting hot. If your hands start shaking, like mine did yesterday when I was teaching the class, maybe some of you noticed. We were doing a pose like this, and my right hand started shaking. You focus your attention on your hand and just breathe and try to relax, and pretty soon it stopped. What a revelation that you can actually control that part of your nervous system that doesn't like to be controlled. That's on its own, by focusing your mind on your body. And let's just come down and relax a little bit. So that's the first one. So there's 4 aspects to this. All right. The second one is we're just going to bring the hands out, with the palms facing out, like we're pushing out. And notice that I'm not extended. I'm not contracted. It's that Taoist middle ground that they love to be in. No extreme. They don't go to extremes. They stay within the yin and yang circle, carefully titrating those forces of hard and soft. And we're breathing in and breathing out, pulling energy in as we breathe out with the back of the hands. Go ahead and try reverse breathing. Completely different sensation. Okay, let's come down. Palms on our knees. This is a good opportunity. You might be feeling some um, tightness, okay? Because remember, we're doing Qigong for many different reasons, one of which is to strengthen our bodies, right? So we're going to feel a little tightness at first, especially if these are new exercises to you. And so all I'm doing is just rotating my shoulders up and down and back and down and so forth. All right. Let's look from side to side. This is a Qigong exercise called Wise Owl Looks Back. Get the tension out of our necks. Okay. So we started like this, the posting or tree hugging. We went from that to this, the pushing out, pulling in. And now we're just going to extend the hands out and push out, the palms facing out. Relax into the posture. You should have a feeling of trying to sink, S-I-N-K, of sinking into the posture, sinking into a place of comfort and relaxation. Okay, good. Bring the hands down. Again, place your palms on your knees and relax and take a few deep breaths. Next, you're going to make it look like you're holding a ball and bring the bowl down to the dantian area, a few inches away from your belly. You may feel some heat being generated in this area. And now we're going to place the right hand over the left knuckles. The hands are open, and bring the hands in to the dantian, gently touching your body. Breathe in. As you breathe out, pull the energy into the dantian. And finally, just bring your hands, let your hands drop to the side with your palms facing up. And we're going to bring the hands up, like you're making an offering, and just drop them. Here. And then tighten the perineum, breathe out. In, tighten the perineum, breathe out. Okay, good. Let's take a closing breath. And relax. So just go ahead and hang out there for a while in the Wudang meditative pose. Okay, open your eyes and let's go ahead and do the 5 animal frolic set. The 5 animal frolic form is a very old form. Appeared, I think, in the 3rd century. And it was a form that was, I think it was invented by a Chinese medical doctor. And the intent of this series of Qigong form movements or exercises is to address the needs of each form addresses the needs of 2 body organs in the body. And beyond that, it's based on principles of Chinese medicine and the 5-element theory. Really what's going on here is you're really trying to squish blood, exercise, if you will, squish blood in and out of those internal organs. We'll just get into it. The 5 animals are fun to do. And I invite you to imagine that when you do these movements, that you engender the feeling or the personality of that particular animal in that form, and try to imagine taking the energy of that animal, and they're all different, into yourself. And it's kind of a real vitalizing experience to do that. So I invite you to do that, although you don't need to. So when we do bear, you might feel very powerful. We do deer, you might feel very elegant, very very balanced and very fleet and sophisticated. Monkey, you might feel whimsical, a little mischievous, and tiger, you're going to feel fierce, like you can do anything you want. And You do the crane, you're going to feel the crane is actually very powerful, a creature, but it's a different kind of power. And so go ahead and play around with that. So the first one we're going to do that I like to start out with deer. There's no particular order. So this is interesting because this Qigong, although it's very old, is very popular, and it's been handed down over the centuries without very much change. Although you will see, people have added finesse to it and changed the form a little bit, but by and large they have not changed very much over the centuries. And so the deer is going to start four out of the five start with the hands coming up and down like this, just like that exercise we did, that Qigong exercise, where we brought the hands up and down a few times and then we brought them in, pushed out, expanded, and so forth like that. So this is the same thing. It's a starting out feeling in an empty state, the state of Wuchi, the state of the universe before it existed, if you will, cosmologically speaking, and we're just going to bring energy up into the universe and come down. And I imagine now the deer parting the bushes, getting ready to leap forward. And as the deer leaps forward, one hand pushes out, one foot goes out, our hands go out, and one leg or hand goes back. Try to stay up straight. Don't. And as we push back, we look back. And now we're changing and looking back the other way. And now you want to intentionally, you want to really stretch the tendons in your wrists. This is addressing the lung, particularly the lung. You can feel your lung stretching. And keep going. And metaphorically speaking, we are imitating the movement of the deer running through the forest and looking back at a possible predator, right? Very controlled, very loose, breathing in. As we go back to the other side, we breathe out. I'm exaggerating. Just to demonstrate it. The breath is slow and even. Okay, and now we're going to come back and we're going to turn the palms over and we're going to strike up. Of course, the upper hand and swoop down and take a closing breath. So you can come down like this, or you can come down like this. Okay, now we go to the other side. Everything we do is done on the right side and left side. So this is the same. Instead of pushing out with the right hand, I'm going to push out with the left and look back at the right hand. I push and extend, shift back and look back and extend. Do as many as you want. And now I'm on the right side, turning the palm over, turning the other palm over, striking up. You can imagine a deer using its hoof to strike, defend itself. Cross and come down. And close. Nice. I like to kind of hang out in this meditation pose. Relax, gather your energy. Okay, let's do tiger. Tiger's a big animal, uh, fierce, strong. Tiger moves a little differently. It starts out pushing bigger branches aside. And we did this Qigong earlier, so by now you should be able to push to the left or the right, it doesn't matter. And then push to the other side. And now you start to imagine your hands have become claws, and they push forward and down in a nice small circle and up. Breathing in, breathing out. Now, a bigger circle and all the way back. Breathe in and hold it. You're stretching, so you're breathing in and hold it. It'll come down. Exhale. Take your closing breath. So in my mind, what's going on is that the tiger is pushing these big bushes aside, grabbing its prey, bringing it up, having a meal, releasing the rest to the babies, and taking a nice nap, and waking up. We do it to the other side. I push to the left, begin. Now I'm going to push to the right and to the left. And the rest of it's the same. Small circle, in and down. Big circle, up and back. And stretch, stretch, stretch. Exhale, relax, come down, and close. Okay, so let's go ahead and do monkey. Monkey is very different. Starts out like four of the others, and it comes down like this. So the hands are coming up and down. And then the hands, when they reach the level of the lap or the waist, if you were standing, either way, you spin them around. So you're spinning the fingers out and around and forming these monkey paws like this. It's a monkey paw, right? So you come up and down, form your paws, draw it up like this. Like a monkey sitting up, and then you're going to reach out slowly and stretch. This time you really want to stretch. And pick the fruit, like a banana or whatever, off of the tree and bring it in. Bring it down, push down, and close. And once again, breathing in, coming down, spinning, forming monkey paws, bring the paws up, reaching out to the left, grabbing the fruit, bringing it in, push down, and close. And we move on to bear. Similarly, bear moves up and down. And bear sits up. This is a lot like that Qigong form that we did earlier, where we're just pushing out. come down. And they're going to come up again. And now we're going to use reverse breathing. We're going to breathe in as we come up and tighten the perineum. And we're going to hold the perineum tight as we breathe out, in and out for 3 or more times. Or more. And as at the last breathe in breath, we breathe out, and as we breathe out, the hands come down and relax the perineum. And by the way, this is all recorded, so if you like these forms and you want to learn them, all you need to do is get a hold of the tape and go to an area that you want to learn or practice, and there you have it. Let's do it again. This particular form, I left part of it out. We're going to do it now. We come up and down. We come up. Now hold it, tighten the perineum, and take 3 breaths. And the 3rd breath, inhale and exhale and relax the perineum. Okay. And when I left out, I started talking about, I forgot anyway, I changed the subject, but I was telling you you can get this on the tape, is on the last one you come down, you part the bushes, and then you lumber from side to side. Now your arms and your hands are completely relaxed, and you're just turning from one side to the other. See if you can turn and rotate 90 degrees. You come back and up and down. And so to review this one, it's up and down, up, 3 breaths, tighten the perineum, release, exhale, release relax the perineum. You come down, bring the hands to your sides briefly, and then just rotate from one side to the other. Looking back. And come forward, cross the hands and in. The last animal form is going to be the crane. This done standing up is actually quite difficult. And it's done a little differently. Your kicks are going to be forward, to the side and back, and then up and down. We're just going to go up and down. It's very hard to kick to the side and back when you're sitting in a chair, so we're just modifying it. And we're going to come up, breathing in and come down. All right, remember the only animal that's different is the tiger, but all the four other animals come up and down like this to begin. And then we're going to swoop out and form wings. And we're going to fly once. And we're going to glide. And then we're going to kick. And as we kick out straight, I'm going to bring my hands down. Ooh. Bring the hands up. Bring the foot down. Once again. 2, 3. Bring the hands in, up again, flip, and one more fly, one more of these, swoop, or whatever you call it. And then bring the hands up and over and down. Okay, do the other side, the other leg in this case. Come up and down. Reach out to the sides, swoop, kick, 1, 2, slowly to 3. I'm kicking high, but you can just kick out or step out if you like, whatever you can do. But try to do this and try to see if you can bring your leg up slowly as high as you can. As high as I can go. And you bring the finally after the third kick, one of these, bring your hands up overhead and front. Okay, so there you have it, the 5 animal frolic. And it is 11:04, so it's time to stop. And I thank you so much for coming. I love teaching this, and of course it gives me an opportunity to review and to do it myself. So it's not only a pleasure teaching, but I'm sure getting as much out of it as I hope I imparted and as you guys have gotten out of it. And I wish you a wonderful New Year's, and all the best. And for those of you who attend the regular class, I really look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for the lesson, Sifu. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a happy new year, everybody.
Yep, all you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Joni, everybody, Patrick. Okay.